I am DYANAROZAY, and I bring a unique commentary to your favorite reality TV shows and whatever is popping on social media. If you are not a subscriber, please become one. Hit that notification bell too, that way you don't miss any of my videos. I go by DYANAROZAY on all platforms, and I appreciate every single one of y'all for rocking with me. What's up, Supreme Team? Welcome to the cookout. Welcome, everyone. This is DYANAROZAY, and I'm here to bring you guys a review. This is my live review for Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 11, Episode 4. So come on through. Let me know what your side dishes are in the chat, okay? Come on in, everyone. Welcome. Nice to have all of you. Thank you for coming through, okay? There's plenty of food everywhere. Get yourself a drink, child. The bar is open. Who got the blackberry cobbler is what I want to know, child. I got a taste for blackberry cobbler, and I didn't get a chance to make any for myself. So if you have some, let me know. Put it in the chat. I want to say hello to my sister. This is my real sister clone in the house. So please, you guys, she's a moderator volunteering her time. Make sure y'all follow her directions if she gives you any, okay? For the most part, I am cool with you guys having different opinions, okay? Because if you are here, whether you like this show or not, for some reason, child, got you by the throat and it keeps bringing you over here. So welcome to you too, okay? I don't care. I appreciate every single one of y'all for coming through. What is up, Gloria? Nice to have you, my St. Louis sis. I see Charlene is in the house. Ty is here. Welcome. What is y'all side dishes? Am I the only one cooking up in here? What do y'all got? Okay. I see somebody's mama. 1976 is here. All right. The finger sandwiches. Dyrese got the finger sandwiches. I knew I could count on Dyrese, child. She always got a dish. What is up, Paulette? Nice to have you. Shrimp pasta is in the house. What's up with you, my friend? Okay, let's see. You said you got some collard greens, child. Yes, you got to keep the system moving. You know what I'm saying? Thank goodness for the collard greens. You got ambrosia with pecans. Yum. I love it. Come on in, everyone. Welcome. Nice to have you. So yeah, we're going to talk about this show from last night. It shocked me a little bit. And make sure y'all take the poll at the top of the chat because Trish did a rope-a-dope on Ken, okay? This has been the calmest I have ever seen Trisha in a scene. Trisha is usually, kind of antsy. She has antsy energy. She was real calm in this scene. I don't know if people were paying attention, but some of the shit that Ken was saying, because he was very much gaslighting, and I'm gonna tell y'all all about it in a second. You said you got smothered potatoes, potato salad. Put it on the picnic table, baby. It's time, okay? You said we ain't cooking dinner rolls and plasticware. Okay, you ain't cooking. You got dinner rolls and plasticware. Okay, just like my mama used to bring. What y'all need on the sodas, because I'm not cooking shit. Okay, so I appreciate y'all. The only place where you can hear the words rope-a-dope. Trisha rope-a-doped Ken. I promise you, and I'm going to tell you all about it. I rewound that scene a couple of times because I was like, this is not the Trisha we usually see. You know what I'm saying? Trisha has always brought, like I said, she got antsy energy. This was the first time she did a scene where it was like, bitch, I'm in it. But not because the cameras are there. It was because she was completely focused on Ken. And she absolutely rope-a-doped him. And I'm going to tell y'all about it in just a second. Listen, I know y'all probably went to other YouTubers to listen to their review. This is my perspective. I'd never listen to anybody before I come on with my review, just an FYI. We might say the same shit or similar because we're watching the same show, but I don't take anything. I don't listen to what they have to say, just so you know. I'm coming on fresh and clear, and then I'm going to go listen to everybody else to see if we thought the same thing. Anyway, Y'all know how I do it over here. I do like to share with y'all what I use on my skin, just in case you're interested. Because I have had people, you like my shirt? This is Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan. Let me rock it, Shaka Khan, okay? Anyway, let me show y'all what I use on my skin every night, every single night. This is my second, little jar of this Derm Correction Firming Skin. It has retinol in it. And what it does is it smooths the skin. It actually gives you glass skin. So literally, my skin just looks completely smooth, right? It also gets rid of fine lines and wrinkles. So if you guys are interested in it, there is a link either somewhere below the menu bar if you're on your computer. And if you are on your cell phone, an icon that looks like a shopping bag emoji will pop up on the screen, and it'll take you directly to the link where you can buy and support my channel if you are interested. Okay, so make sure that you do that. And yes, you are amongst family. We are all cousins over here. So go on ahead, have your opinion, just be respectful. That's all I ask. Please and thank you. You said that you have been using it, and thank you for the recommendation. I appreciate you, girl. It's really good. This is my second one. I'm going to go get my third one today, okay? Just so I don't run out. But anyway, let's get to it. Let's get to the review. Like I said, season 11, episode 4, and it opens up with the Scotts in Pontiac, Michigan. Okay, I said it wrong before. It's Pontiac, Michigan, and it's actually Scott 1 and 2.0. They're walking the streets of their childhood neighborhoods or whatever, and they're holding hands with their wives, okay? Tisha and Kimmy, taking them through the streets of Pontiac, Michigan. I'm going to get it right. Anyway, they stop at this ice cream parlor that they said, they used to go to as a kid, and they're having, a little chit chat, and Kimmy brings up the father, Daddy Scott, Marceau's twin. And she said, is something going on with him? Have you noticed that he's off? Like he's not talking the way he used to. He doesn't seem happy. And he already told Kimmy last week. He told Kimmy and Tisha, this is family business. What I have going on is family business. And, okay, he said, what's up? I saw somebody, Erica. Did I see Erica in the chat? Yes. Okay. What's up, Miss Erica? She said she got the music. She got the tunes over here. Okay. Thank you. She said, is there something wrong with him? And both Marceau and Maurice blow it off. They're like, yeah, sometimes he gets a little nostalgic. He won't talk if he seems emotional. That's what's going on. And without breaking the confidence, I guess, because Kimmy knows there's something up. He already told him, hell yeah, I'm pissed is what he told them last scene. But he also said, I'm not going to tell it to you. Okay. Once you say it, you can't take them words back. So Kimmy says to them, I think it's more than that. And I think you need to check in with them because, sometimes parents, they go through it too, just like kids do. Anyway, Marceau kind of get a little snappy about it. He was like, well, I don't understand what he's upset about. You know what I'm saying? We here to see Uncle Rick. Now, some of y'all told me last week that Uncle Rick isn't really their uncle. It's their play uncle. I did not know that. But he's like, we're here to see Uncle Rick. And, I don't know why he would be upset. That doesn't make any sense to me. And Kimmy says, listen, sometimes parents look back at what happened in their kids' childhood and they might not feel good about it. So if you've checked in with him before, check in with him again. There's something up, right? Marceau ends up saying that, and I don't know if this was directly to his father or if he was just using this generalization, but he makes the comment, a dad. He said that wait a minute. Sorry about that. He said a dad has to realize that the best time to build relationships with their children is when they're growing up inside the house, not when they're married with children of their own. That was a slap at his own father. That's what it sounded like to me. Because what are you doing? And not to mention the fact, what type of father are you? For the majority, since season 1 of this show, It's been about you being a father to your children, you being a father, you being a husband, you wanting Tisha to stay at home and do all of the parenting while you go outside and do all of the work. All of the shit that's coming back in this particular scene with y'all being in Pontiac is just a revisit of what's actually going on in your life, Marceau. But the way he threw it out there, like, well, if he wanted to be a dad to us, he should have done it when we were growing up inside the house. This isn't the time to play father, and I'm not going to coddle him, is how he said it. Okay, I should have put your ass up there as a clown. Because I was like, Marceau, if anybody should be asking for grace and forgiveness, it's you, buddy. Anyway. Then Marceau said some shit like, it is what it is. So he was talking about his daddy. He said, it is what it is. I don't know what to say. And Maurice Scott agrees with him. He was like, yeah, it is what it is. Everything's all right. It's fine, right? Kimmy says that she thinks they need to let their father know that they appreciate him now. Okay. She said, y'all always talk shit to us about how y'all dad was Superman when y'all were growing up. So it seems to me, and I'm telling you this, that if that's how you feel, give that man his flowers while he's still here to receive them, right? And Marceau said, today is Uncle Rick's time. Not my dad. Today is Uncle Rick's time. And then he stopped and said, but you know what? Dad could be feeling some personal guilt. Anyway, he said if he had to change anything about his childhood, he would ask for less whoopings. That's it. He said, I really don't hate my childhood. I think everything's good. But if I had to change anything, it would be that I get less whoopings. And that's about it. Come on in. Welcome, you guys. Nice to have y'all. Please grab anything y'all want in regards to food and drink, okay? And just hit the like button. That's it, okay? Hit that like button and share the video, if you will. Anyway, that's how the scene ends. But listen, it was a real coded conversation, and really coming from Marceau when he made that comment, the best time to be a dad is when your kid is growing up and not when they're grown with children of their own. That was some garbage. I hope you feel the same way when Junior in your house decides he got his own damn family and maybe you aren't, a top priority for him anymore. I'm not sure what that was about. Cornish hens is in the house, child, and the dressing. Mwah. Thank you, girl. I appreciate you. Anyway, take the poll at the top of the chat because now we're about to get into this Trisha and Ken conversation. I already told y'all, Trisha was as calm as a damn cucumber. I don't even know what her sign is, but considering how Trisha has been every episode since her debut, this was crazy, okay? But she is outside with Ken. Ken said that he finally came back home. I don't know what that means because he keeps saying he's going back and forth between the apartment and Trisha's house. But this time he's in the driveway working on a truck, right? And Trisha's out there sitting on the side, and Trisha is trying to figure some shit out. You can tell, right? Anyway, they rehashed their little session with Dr. Francis. And Ken said that Dr. Francis hit a nail, okay? He said he hit the nail in the head when he said that Trisha turns into a whole nother person when she gets angry. Like she's Bruce Banner or some shit and turned it into the Incredible Hulk. He said when he told you that, I was like, damn, he really knows he really knows what's going on. Trisha just like, yeah, I'm working on it. Okay. She wasn't as jittery as she used to be. She said, I'm working on it, bitch. But if I have to break up out these clothes and tear up in you, I'll do it. Anyway, in confessional, Trisha and Ken sitting side by side. Trisha said, we don't argue a lot, but when we do, and Ken said, yeah, it's real bad when we do. Ken, blink twice, boo. Blink twice if you need some help, because that's what it sounded like to me. He cut her off and said, it's real bad when we argue. Okay. Okay, so that's 2 warning signs, just so y'all know, right? Anyway, then Trisha came in for the alley-oop, just so you're aware. This is where Trisha comes in for the alley-oop, and she said she wanted to see if Ken was going to take the bait. This is basically it. Because if y'all remember that old scene, let me put this up here. If y'all remember the first episode of this season, Trisha and Tisha have a sit down, and Tisha asked Trish how things are going in her relationship, right? Cool. Trisha said, we're rocky. And then it's Trisha who introduces to Tisha Scott, that Ken thinks that she is cheating on him, going out with some man. Somebody sent him something in the DM saying that she was at a bar with a man that looked real swole like him. And Tisha said, you can't let that type of shit bother you. You shouldn't be listening to people in the DMs, right? That's what Tisha says to Trisha. What I didn't recognize is this facial expression that Trisha's making. This is an actual screenshot. But when Tisha said to Trisha, don't listen to everything on social media, people actually came to me and said that you need to tell Trish that Ken be in these girls' DMs. And when she says it, Trisha makes that face like, what the fuck? I didn't see it the first time because we were so like, this scene is, what y'all got going on? Y'all don't have no chemistry in this scene. Do y'all even know each other? But when I went back to look at it last night, because y'all know I do my damn research, I was like, she already knew that shit was true the second Tisha said it out her mouth. Tisha was saying it like, girl, people say shit to me all the time, not just about Marseau. Hell, they tell me stuff about Ken too. I don't care. You shouldn't care either. Are y'all still getting married? What's up, right? That's what she said. Anyway, after that, Trisha ends up going to Ken because she already knows that motherfucker likes to be in the DMs. They've had this conversation before. So anyway, like I said, she came up for the alley-oop. She wanted to see if this mother was going to take the bait, right? And she said, Tisha told me that somebody told her that Ken likes to be in these girls' DMs or something like that. I don't know, something like that though. Ken said, how did I even pop up in a conversation with y'all? Where did that even come from? Trisha said, well, we was talking about relationship stuff. Trisha did not stutter. Y'all know how she like, well, we were that type of stuff. She didn't even talk like that in this scene. She went, y'all know, we was talking about relationship stuff. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. This is how this woman's speaking to him. And he is sitting over there by that tire iron, by that tire iron in that car, looking for escape routes, okay? Anyway, Ken said, I don't know what Tisha's insinuating. Is she saying that someone specifically said I was in their DMs? Now Trisha's coming for the slam dunk. Trisha said, I guess. Yeah, that's what she's saying. Now Ken, hand on Bible, Ken confesses like Rick James from that Dave Chappelle skit. Okay? Ken said, yeah, I was in their DMs. He said, yeah, I've been in a couple of DMs, I have. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I've been in there. It's not that big of a deal to me. How did you go from is she insinuating to yeah? Okay. Are you out of your mind? Anyway, after he says that, okay, he goes, it's not that big of a deal to me. Now, Trisha is staring a hole into him, but she doesn't speak. She just does this. She slowly shakes her head like, motherfucker, are you out of your mind? I'm like, Trisha, who are you right now? I had no clue. I'm telling you. Anyway, I think that if the cameras weren't there, I think Trisha would have drop kicked him. I think when he said we fight real bad, I think that's what he was talking about. And he waited until there was witnesses before he could confess, because I think when Trisha is beating on him, I think the kids jump in too, and they start hitting him with frying pans and shit. You know what I'm saying? He already said that when they fight and they go out for dinner and stuff, they bring food back to the house. Everybody can eat except for him. They will sit around and eat all the food, and nobody leaves him a morsel. So I think that Trisha beats the hell out of Ken, and that the kids jumps in to also beat the hell out of Ken. That's what I think. Just based on how this scene played out. Just based on how this scene played out. Okay, it was like a real cartoon. And I do want to say hello and thank you, girl. Thank you, Miss Elizabeth Davis, for becoming a member and blessing the channel. I appreciate you so much. You make sure you grab yourself something off the picnic table. Get yourself a mojito or something, a lemon drop or something, okay? The bar is open, baby girl. Yes, y'all heard what I said. We already heard that man said that he gets abused in the house, that when him and Trisha are fighting, it's just not him and Trisha. It's him and Trisha. It's him against Trisha and the kids, because they take her side, which they're supposed to, right or wrong. I don't give a damn. That's your mama. Okay. So they were raised right. You're doing the right thing. But he said, y'all will cook food in front of me, haven't eaten all day, and then y'all will go in there and make sure you pile your plates on top so that there's nothing left. Okay. What is that? What's that TikTok thing? Cereal, no milk. Okay. Yeah, nothing. No milk, no syrup. Okay, that's it. Jelly, that's it. That's all that's left, baby. Come on in. Okay, watching from Barbados. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Anyway, he is sitting there and he is looking sheepish. Y'all know what I mean too. Just like, what do I do next? I don't know, kind of thing, right? Ken said after he says this, he said he started, raking his hair. I don't just be jumping in people's DMs, I don't get in there just get in their DMs. Everything I do with intention. I do with intention. What does that mean, that you don't get in women's DMs without intention? That is the 2006 version of saying, who are you going to believe, me or your lying ass eyes? That is all that is. That is gaslighting. There's no reason for you to be in the women's DMs unless you're looking for something, okay? And you might find it if you keep it up, okay? Anyway, Trisha said, why do you respond to them? Again, easy breezy, lemon squeezy. She's not hyper. She's not giving him a whole lot of rah-rah. She goes, why do you respond to them? Ken says, bruh, we were arguing. I hadn't talked to you for a few days. You don't do no checkups. You don't do no how you doing. You know what I'm saying? When we into it, you seem not to give a fuck about me. So I just took it as a sign to be a whore. You know what I'm saying? Yes, guilty. I'm in the DMs. I do WhatsApp. I do Snapchat. I do. That's just what happened. Goofy is what it is. Completely goofy. Anyway, I'm curious if you called Trisha when you said she wasn't calling you. Were you on vacation and, doing your thing and not hitting her phone? Or you just expect her? Is this a one-way street? You're just expecting her to reach out to you? Because he didn't say, I call you and you don't answer the phone. He said, you don't check on me, is how he put it. Anyway, she's still just staring at him. She doesn't say a thing. She is just looking at him like, got it. Ken said, I can't make any excuses about it. But I didn't make it past the DM. I've never made it past the DM or a messenger or Snapchat, you know what I'm saying, or WhatsApp. We just talk. We just find mutual things to talk about. It's mutual. I never just jump in their DMs. It's mutual. What the fuck does that mean? Trisha says, and what does that mean? What does it being mutual mean? Because now she's on her 50 questions, right? Thanks, Tisha. Thanks, Tisha. Now, Ken says something that an average F-boy would say. He says, I'm not trying to start no new relationships with nobody. If I don't marry you, I don't want to get married. Which is what again, this is what the new folks are saying. If I can't marry you, I don't want to get married. That's the equivalent of, I want you to have my baby. Period. Okay? I did not know that y'all young girls are letting these fools run game on y'all like this. If I can't marry you, I don't want to marry anybody else. That doesn't mean your ass ain't cheating, motherfucker. Okay? That doesn't mean anything. I don't know why that even came out of his mouth. Trisha should have checked his ass right there. Who cares if you don't want to marry me? I don't want to marry you either. If you're out here in these streets being a hoe. How big do you think Huntsville is? Anyway, Ken says, I miss our fun times. You know, I'm a family guy, right? I don't like it over there at the bachelor pad all by myself, and when I come over here and I get that, that certain type of energy, then I'm out. That's just how it is. I don't stick around for that. Clown. That's all I could say. I was watching this like, ooh, this is bad. Anyway, Trisha says that Xavier told her the other day that he misses the fun times between them. So it's funny that he said that. And then because he has her mind mushy, because the fact that he said, I want to marry you, and if I can't, I won't marry anybody else, which again is game. That's all it is, game. Because if you pay attention to his ass now, he's asking everybody to be the one over there on his social media page, period. Okay? Asking everybody, who's fucking tonight? And then after that, he's going to ask you to be the one because that's his MO. That's how he collects, period. But anyway, Trisha actually says to him, because like I said, she's been programmed. She says, I want us to really work out. I really do. I want us to work out, and I'm up for it all, whatever we got to do. But then in the back end, she says, your DMing women is throwing off my trust, though. I don't know. It's throwing me off. And Ken doesn't apologize for being in the women's DMs. He didn't say, listen, you know what? Let's talk about this. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. What he actually says is, Tisha Scott is messy. Okay? And I'm real shocked that she's running this shit to you, considering the rumors out there about Marseau being the man he is. Maybe you shouldn't take advice from her, whether I'm in the DMs or not. Even though your ass just admitted to it, you would rather run it back on Tisha. I asked y'all to take the poll because I thought that was some dirty dog, low down, no good, rotten bullshit. Whether you like her or not, that's not how the conversation started. He actually says that to Trisha and then doubles up and said, I'm going to have to talk to Marceau about it. About what? About you being a hoe? Cool. Cool. Anyway, take the poll at the top of the chat because we're about to get these damn results early, okay? Whoever y'all pick, whoever gets the most votes is going to wear the crown, okay? Let me get my emoji up. Listen, this man keeps on giving, okay? Hold on. This man keeps on giving. Whoever gets the most votes. Hold on. Where's my picture? Here we go. Whoever wears the most votes get the crown. And whoever gets the least amount of votes will be the clown by default. And I ask y'all, let me get the screen up now. Hold on. Keep taking the vote until we finish, baby. All right, y'all can see me? Kind of, sort of. Okay, here we go. I asked you guys, whose side are you on? Are you on Trisha's side for throwing Tisha under the bus? Because that's what the F she did. The bottom line is, after Ken was all in his fifi, she should have checked him and said, there's no reason for you to be mad at Tisha if she was right. Okay, that's my friend. She was letting me know not to even trust the people in the DMs because they lie. But you are the liar here, okay? Because you wouldn't have come clean if you didn't think I had an actual name or some shit. So Trisha threw her under the bus, and y'all seem to love it. Y'all said y'all cool with it. And that was 71% of y'all. 29% of y'all said you were on Tisha's side. I'm on Tisha's side. I think Tisha was trying to be a friend and console her and say, girl, don't listen to the DM people. But I think that she knew who the hell she had at home, and she used it against Tisha, which is why you don't get in between people that's what? Pulling sheets, okay? Everybody's big mama and big mama and auntie and the great auntie. Everybody has told you this time and time again. Stay the hell out of these people's business, because some shit that you tell them on a let me help you tip is going to turn around on you. And it has turned around on Tisha, because Tisha wasn't barely in this episode. She barely had 2 lines. And baby, from the time the show opens until the time it ends, Tisha was dragged for filth. Oh my goodness. Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Is everything okay? Can y'all see me? I think y'all can. Anyway, someone said that you couldn't see me. He said, there you go. Hey, 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 welcome, welcome, welcome to the chat. Anyway, that's how Tisha got dragged for filth. And that is what I meant when I said she threw her under the bus. She didn't even give a shit. When Ken said, I'm gonna go talk to Marseau about it. You know what Trisha did? Mm-hmm. Go talk to Marseau. Go talk to Marseau. And yes, I'm not even going to help Marseau in this situation. You just call Marseau a whore, and I'm going to nod. Yes, yes, yes. Anyway, it was funny to me. Listen, this is what I am going to say, because this is funny. This is funny. This show has been on for what, 5-6 years? Hey, you're just now getting here. Come on in, child. Grab yourself something to eat. This show has been on, I think, for 6 years, maybe. In the 6 years that this show's been on the air, and I think I started reviewing in year 2 or 3, maybe 2. I've had 2 people, maybe 3 people come into my DMs and share with me that they've tried to either set up Marseau or set up Marceau's brother, Mark, the one that had the whole thing with Vanessa. Anyway, I will say that Ken is the one who's getting caught in these fucking DMs, whereas Marceau and Mark have not, or Ken, or Maurice or Martell, because y'all know that people have been trying to do shit and have it come back to the YouTubers with the conversation. This is nothing I asked for, by the way, because I don't like that type of karma on me, baby. I'm going to heaven when I get off YouTube. I'm never going to hell for anybody on this TV show. Nobody. But one girl said that she tried to set up Marceau. Marceau did not take the bait. Another person said they tried to set up Mark. 2 people, actually. One was a YouTuber. The other one was someone who watches the show. The one who watches the show got so deeply involved in the bullshit that she was doing. This is a person with grown children of her own, and I think maybe even a husband, that he had enough information to send to her boss and got her fired. Just so y'all know. And if Ken does not know, if he is this much of a newbie, if he doesn't know to stop playing with them women in them DMs, Chris Hansen is going to come knocking on his door. Y'all know that the dude who used to host How to Catch a Predator. You have no idea what these people is going to set your ass up with, child. And you might not be as smart as some of them Scott boys are, because for all that they have been accused of, nobody has come out and taken the bait yet. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's come out and said that they've taken the bait. Whereas Martell at least 3 women, including Ariane, has brought his shit to the internet. Melnika came on the show to say that she damn near ruined his marriage before it started because Melody thought they was cheating. Okay. And then had the nerve to say, I'm grown. We could do whatever we want to do. Girl, nasty work. But I'm just saying, take some advice. Okay. He gonna learn. Listen, you are absolutely right. He gonna learn. Baby, these people in these DMs are not getting in your DMs all the time because they interested in you. They interested in making you a clown. You're about to be wearing the clown uniform for real with cuffs if you keep it up, sir. No, I'm telling you that there was a viewer who said they wanted to vindicate people on the show. So they started plotting, ended up having conversations with the brother Mark. Y'all know that brother. You knew what I'm talking about. And she got so deeply involved in the cray-cray that he took all of her emails and sent it to her boss and got her fired. And she actually told me that she had talked to people on the show, Melody and her mom. It was pretty crazy. I was just like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? But yes, they have tried to set them up. Y'all know that not everybody's wrapped too tight. I try to tell y'all all the time, just take a walk outside every once in a while, because some of this shit is not as serious as you think. These people actually get paid to do this show, and when they don't want to do it no more, they'll stop signing the contract. You don't have to chime in. Just let it play. But anyway, let's get to the next scene, which is Marceau and Maurice, child. Slow, exactly. Marceau and Maurice, they end up attending a construction ceremony with their Uncle Rick, right? And this is where Marceau gets an opportunity to talk to his dad. Only when he goes to his dad this time, and he just, he's kind of straight up. He's not beating around the bush about it. He said, is everything okay? You know what I'm saying? Is there any bad feelings about us being here to support Uncle Rick? And his dad said, hell no, I don't care nothing about that. Why would I? No, which is completely different from what he said last week with Kimmy, right? He was like, it didn't have nothing to do with that. So Marceau says, so you're saying that Kimmy's a liar. You're saying that what Kimmy told us about you is a lie, correct? And he said, yeah, I guess so. Okay, whatever she told you, don't believe it, because I did not have an attitude or a problem with y'all coming here to support your Uncle Rick. Anyway, Marceau says to his daddy that sometimes, you have or Daddy Scott, let me say this. Daddy Scott says to Marceau, sometimes you have a real screwed vision with your children when you're growing up, right? And he said, and now that y'all are grown, I sit back and I watch you. And then he stops himself from finishing the sentence. I don't know if he was going to say, you remind me a lot of myself, which is what I think he was going to say, because that's what he told Tisha last week. But he stops himself for getting the words all the way out there, right? And I don't think that he likes the way Marceau handles his family, but I think he doesn't know how to say it, or maybe he stopped himself from saying it on television, because y'all heard him last week say, I don't want to say something I can't undo. So he stops himself mid-sentence and just does this, right? But Marceau just comes in and says, listen, you got it 98% right, okay? And I don't give two shits about that other 2%. Who cares? I brag on my childhood, Dad. You did a hell of a job. You did a hell of a job. He said, I would never change a thing about how I grew up. And Daddy Scott beams. I mean, beams. He tilted his eyes down. He's wearing these glasses. He looks at Marceau like, are you shitting me? You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't know if he should take it seriously or not. And he's like, wow, You know what I'm saying? Like, it was something that he needed to hear. And coming from Marceau, more than Maurice, he really, his dad, Marceau and his dad have, maybe because they look so much alike, maybe he needs to hear it from him most. But it makes him happy to hear it. You could see he wears it all over his face. Anyway, Marceau hugs him. Maurice comes over, he, backs it up. Yeah, Dad, we love you, Dad. He hugs him. But he need to hear it from Marceau the most. Marceau what? Anyway, in confessional, Marceau said, listen, I'm not holding that shit on my dad. He was 26 years old with 8 kids, man. He did what he had to do to feed us. That's it. And he said, I'm 45 and my wife has 3 kids. And I do everything I can to help her raise them 3 kids. And for that, I laughed my ass off when Marceau said that the first time around, but I do want to give Marceau the clown by default because, baby, why do you keep saying that Tisha is the one with them kids and you don't have any? Marceau wins the actual clown by default, child. Because Marceau, if I'm not mistaken, you have been crying on social media for the last 2 years saying that your son and your daughters are growing up and how you're closer with your son. I think you just went to Rome last year. He just went to Rome right before his son went to college with his son so that he can have that time with him. But he also was talking about how he used to be real close with his oldest daughter and how she doesn't want anything to do with him now. As you get older and you start putting pieces together, you gotta make amends with that shit. So you still gotta figure some things out too. And you better watch yourself, child. And I hope your kids see this face and that they pin it up, put it someplace in the house. But when he said Tisha has 4 kids, Tisha has 3 kids. I was like, Lord, child, have mercy, baby. You're a mess. You're a mess. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Also at the ceremony, his dad does admit that he had a problem with Uncle Rick. And he said, y'all know, sometimes we fight like hell, but we always get back together. Nothing's going to separate us from being brothers, from being friends. He said they are just like 2 butt cheeks, child. There's going to be a lot of stuff that go through it, but they still good. You know what I'm saying? One can't live without the other. Okay. Anyway, they all started laughing. And now we know where Marceau gets his sense of humor because his dad is just as nasty. His dad is just as horrible as he is in the humor department. Plenty of food left. Thank you, clone. Yes, hit the like button, share the video, all the things, all the things. Let's get down to Martell visiting Will the barber and Ken at Will the barber shop, which isn't a barber shop, okay? Baby. So Martell brought his swollen ass in there. I told y'all Martell is as big as he used to be after him and Melody had split, and you could tell all that man did was live in the gym. He looks just like that now. Arms can barely, touch the side of his skin. He just walks like this. Oh my goodness, that is so crazy. Anyway, the barbershop looks like a house. It does have one of those barbershop, I don't know what to call it. It's some sort of spoolie that's outside the building. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like a little striped spoolie. Anyway, there's one of those out there, but it looks like a house. And then a screen door opens up and then a black curtain gets pulled back. Child, there's a whole lot of shit that goes on. You can tell that these mofos have either a secret handshake or a code word. There's something that happens before you come in there. And when Martell walks in, he is in shock. He's like, what kind of freaky ass voodoo dungeon is this? Okay. He's shocked. The second he walks in, he said, man, you a freak. You a freak. I thought some freaky shit was happening up in here. And now I know for sure this is a freak. You a real freak. Anyway, he keeps screaming that. He keeps screaming it at the top of his lungs. He does not give a shit anymore. Anyway, He actually says this barbershop has one barber station, no clippers, okay? One chair, no clippers, a stripper pole. There's a bar over there that's fully stocked. There's a pool table over here. There's skulls everywhere on every surface. There's a skull. I have no desire. Where the hell am I? What inspired this? Okay. Martell said I was going to bring my son up here to get a haircut. Thank God I did not. Yes, thank God. Because if he would have went back and told that story, baby, your ass would have been in court one more time, okay? One more again. But he said, thank God I did not bring my son up here. He said, I wouldn't bring my girl up here, and I'm not going to bring my black ass back up here. The second we done filming will be the last time, okay? I'm going right on over to the church house and have somebody spray some holy water or something on me. This is a mess. He was afraid to be in there. Anyway, Will said it started as a barbershop, okay? But now it's a private lounge where members pay dues, okay? We got members up in the so they come up here and they pay dues on what? I don't know. I don't know. But clearly Will knows the art of the pivot. Everybody evokes the pivot every once in a while. It started as a barbershop. Now it's a private lounge, okay? And he keeps that one chair there to show his humble beginnings. That's it. That's it. Okay? What did y'all say? Hey, welcome. Nice to see everybody. Don't know. Anyway, now they're sitting around the table and Martell asks Ken if him and Trisha are doing okay. Ken said that they're doing better, but he's going back and forth between her house and his own apartment. Martell said, does Trisha go to your apartment? And Ken says, no, because I don't want her to disturb my peace. Also a sign that Ken isn't effing with Trisha anymore. Y'all got your own apartment. You would be back and forth between both places, just Christianing every room. There's no way. This is what people do when they really like each other, child. I'll be over later tonight, okay? But if you don't even let that woman at that apartment, there's something else going on with you, okay? But anyway, Ken said that his apartment is his getaway. Now, if y'all remember when Trisha and Ken debuted on this show, they actually said, when you see me, you see her. When you see her, you see me. They act like they couldn't be pulled apart for nothing. Now, all of a sudden, he needs his peace and you can't disturb my peace. When did all this happen? Oh my goodness. What a mess. What a mess. Anyway, Ken ends up telling Martell that Tisha dry snitched on him about him being in women's DMs. And this immediately puts Martell in his fifis, okay? He looked around like, Tisha who? Who? Marceau's Tisha? He said, yeah, Marceau's Tisha. Martell basically says that he is sick and tired of fucking Tisha because y'all already know, whether you believe it or not, and this is the craziest part of Martell blaming Tisha for breaking up his marriage, is when this show starts, that's not the storyline. It never came up that way. Tisha and Melody were supposed to be on their little journey, trying to figure things out. And Melody was telling Tisha that Marceau needed to be more like Martell. But never once did Tisha say, leave Martell. The fact that this man brings this shit up every time he gets an opportunity. Tisha stayed in Melody's ear telling her to leave me. I think that Melody and I would still be together today if it wasn't for Tisha. Mind you, he has a whole woman at the house, at the crib, his girl, another baby mama. It's so funny to me that those feelings still sit there in him and he spills them out every time he gets a chance. Anyway, I just want to say that it's funny that he ends up saying his confessional. He has told both Tisha and Marceau to stay the fuck out of people's business. This is exactly what they did to me. And now they're trying to do the same to Ken, okay? Mess up his good relationship. Stop messing up everybody's relationship. Marceau is the last person that should be talking about anything that's going on with anybody else. Tisha, the last person. Martell, you might think that Tisha told a secret, but you tell everybody's secret too. You tell everyone's secret. And if you don't tell it with your own mouth, you give it to someone else to tell, or you give somebody else the blessing to tell the secret. You are just as messy. The fact that he said that, the fact that he does not see himself in this is crazy. He's doing the same exact shit that Ken is doing at this table. Both of them, I see why they so much alike now, because Ken is about to do some dirty shit at the end of the show too. But we'll get there. Martell ends up telling Ken, or asking Ken, did you show Trisha your phone? You let her see that you wasn't DMing anybody? Ken said no. She didn't specify a who, so I didn't show her. Martell says, the reason why you didn't show her is because you in so many damn women's DMs that you can't let her see what's going on, right? Ken said no. She just didn't tell me who. Martell said, if anybody asked to see my DMs right now, I could pull it up. The DMs has a special little section on every app, sir. All you do is go to the message part and you show the woman that you wouldn't in anybody else's DMs. You're cheating, basically, okay? The only reason you didn't show it to her is because you would have been guilty of everything. Guilty of showing of being in everybody's DMs, okay? Anyway, Ken tells Martell that the only time he was in another woman's DMs is when him and Trisha were on a break. And we all know what happens when people who are dating are on a break. They have break babies, okay? They have break babies. So whatever you're doing, sir, whether you were on a break or not, you were dirty with it. And that's what Trisha said. It seems like every time you and I have a problem, you don't even give it 24 hours before your ass is hoeing around in somebody else's DMs. And we talked about that. This is literally what she says on the show. We talked about that. You're not supposed to do that. And he said, I know. You know, I didn't know how you felt about me. You can't be that insecure. You can't be. You're in a relationship, a-hole. Anyway, Will ends up saying the reason why Trisha's so pissed off or, insecure about what the hell you doing is because this is how you and her started. DMing each other. Ken said it wasn't a DM though. We were just, it was just mutual interest. Exactly what he told her. It was just mutual interest. I used to say, I like your workout. She would say she liked my workout. Then everything that Will just said is correct. You were doing the exact same behavior you were doing with her to sleep with her. And there is no changes. You got one trick pony. Okay. You're a one trick pony for sure. Anyway, that's how the scene ends. Moving on. Now we're at the Scotts and Destiny, child. They meet up at a bar to catch up on the family trip. They're still in Pontiac, Michigan, and the Scotts 1 and 2 and Destiny meet up there to, wrap up their trip in Michigan. Destiny ends up sitting with Tisha and Kimmy, and she shares with them that, or she shares in her confessional, that her relationship has grown with the Scotts, and she was actually happy to have them along for the ride in Michigan, even though they dealt with their family and she dealt with hers, right? Destiny ends up telling Tisha and Kimmy that her newfound siblings were very happy to meet with everyone in the family. And then, being able to see that they look like their auntie or the grandmother or whomever in the family, which, I can see how that would, make you feel amazing, right? And she also said that her grandmother now feels complete now that she's seen all of her grandkids, right? Destiny also tells the Scotts that saying goodbye to her mother was not a storybook ending, right? She was like, I ended up telling her that I loved her. And she said, you don't act like it, and walked off, right? So she said it wasn't a storybook ending, but In therapy, she's learned that a lot of her emotional blocks are the exact same emotional blocks that her mama have. Her mama blocks her out. She doesn't want to feel hurt, so she can't feel love either. So whatever it is, if you say I love you, she doesn't want to open her heart to it. So she just, get the fuck on. Okay. I can't have these feelings. I'm in the streets. I gotta survive, right? And Destiny said, I was the exact same way. And I learned that when I block people out in order to stop them from hurting me, then I'm also blocking out the love that is meant for me as well. So that's great that she actually recognizes that. And, Marceau and Maurice ends up trying to tease her a little bit. They were like, well, is this where all that aggression was coming from? All that big D energy that you used to have back in the day? Marceau said aggressive. Let's call it what it was, child. You were aggressive. And Destiny laughs at it, but she said, I prefer assertive. What about you being transparent? Okay. Let me bring in the ghost of Tiffany Whitlow, baby, because your shit blew up when Tiffany kept saying you weren't being transparent. So what's up with that? Have you figured out how to be transparent? Stop trying to tease me about being assertive or aggressive. Marceau said, I'm not transparent. And he said, but there's a difference. You know what I'm saying? He said, most of the time I'm honest. However, sometimes I'm purposely dishonest or misleading or whatever you want to call it. But I'm comfortable in my dishonesty. And when he says that, you can tell that it shook the table. You know what I'm saying? Tisha sitting there with her drink like, why would he say that? Y'all know how Kimmy, when someone says something out of pocket, she makes that smirk and then looks off to the left, like, is he trying to say something? Is he trying to bring more foolishness into Tisha's life? Yes, that's exactly what he's doing, right? Even Maurice was uncomfortable. But Destiny ends up saying, you're very comfortable in being dishonest and being a liar. In fact, you're a master at lying. That's what she tells Marceau. Now, she says it with a smile on her face, and they seem to be joking, but you can tell that this is about to open the door to some brand new bullshit, because this is the stuff that Tisha, as a wife, is going to clock. This is the stuff that any wife would clock. What are you doing? I already got to deal with this motherfucker in private, but what are you doing right now? And that's how that scene ends. And I'm telling you now, nothing good is going to come from it. Something is definitely going to get brought back up about Destiny saying you're very comfortable and you are a master at being a liar. Mark my words. All right. Welcome, everybody. 436 of you are here. Please grab yourself something. Get yourself a drink. People brought lots of food, okay? All kinds of stuff. Just hit the like button and share the video, if you will. You said it's about to be on and popping. I don't know how you get away with saying something like that. I thought about it for me, like, let me see if a friend has said some shit like that about my husband. We would be twirling. That is the stuff you twirl about, okay? Everything in the sky. What is wrong with you? Some things you just got to bite your tongue on. You don't say everything that comes in your head. It's just not smart. But anyway, now we're at Maurice and Martell. Everybody is back in Huntsville. And Maurice decides to meet up with Martell because he doesn't have anybody to film with. And, Marceau is never going to choose Martell on purpose. If we're not in an event space where everybody is, and I just happen to see his ass, I'm not going to sit down with him one-on-one. A lot of people did not believe that Marceau and Martell aren't cool anymore, but this should be obvious to you that they're not, because he won't meet with them unless it's a group setting with everybody. That's just how the entire season has been playing for the last 2 seasons, right? Anyway, except for when he met up with him that one time to just say, bitch, I got you, right? Anyway, Maurice and Martell basically catch each other up on the gossip because men gossip as much as women, if not more. That's just what it is. Maurice lets him know everything that went down in Detroit with Destiny. Not with himself, even though he was there with his own family, but with Destiny. Okay? And Martell said, yeah, I heard about that. And then Martell catches Maurice up on Trish and Ken. And he basically said, Trisha be lying like a motherfucker. That's Martell's exact words. He said they on the outs. Maurice was like, what? What's going on? He said he got his own apartment, man. He, doing his own thing. And then Maurice said, well, it looks like Ken is doing his own thing too, because I follow him over there on the social medias. That man be setting up a whole bunch of thirst traps. What have I told y'all for the last couple of episodes? Ken be in them damn DMs. He is constantly setting up thirst traps. But he said, yeah, he's setting up thirst traps and things. So I know he can't be walking a straight line either. And Martell said, it's funny you should say that. Okay. Speaking of in the DMs and can't be walking a straight line, your sister-in-law is trying to destroy another great relationship. The same shit she did to me and Melody. Now she's trying to push that nasty shit over there to Ken and Trisha. And Maurice was like, oh Lord, say it ain't so. Yes, it's so. And then he said, well, what's going on if he's got his own department? He said, Ken is on his I don't give a fuck. But that don't mean that Tisha need to be involved in it. That's none of her business. I don't know what he expected Maurice to do about Tisha, but that's what he says. After that, Martell ends up saying that he has a bid on a property that's sitting on 15 acres and that he needs it. So he's hoping that they take his offer. They also talk about how Marseau is on his third decade finishing out this little ass shop on Jordan Lane for Kimmy and Maurice. And Martell laughed and said, y'all know Marseau slow as molasses and that he doesn't get anything finished. Okay. You are going to be the last on his priority. So I can't even feel bad for your ass. Okay. Stop complaining because you knew what it was about before you picked him. That's literally Martell's words. And that's how the scene closes out. He said he doesn't care. I don't know. This has been a completely different thing. Come on in. You said you got the seafood salad with the honey barbecue wings. Thank you, Trinette. I appreciate you, baby. All right. Now we got the last scene of the episode. Ken goes over to Marceau's bar to visit. Okay. If y'all have been paying attention to their social media presence, Ken and Trisha used to be in the bar all the time, singing and doing karaoke. They used to be doing all kinds of songs, child, in Vogue and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, he hasn't been up there in a long time. And Marceau is sitting out there on the patio in the hot ass Alabama sun. I mean, you could see the beads of sweat pouring down his face. He's in a black t-shirt. Ken comes in with his black ass hot top. And they sit across each other trying to catch up, right? Marceau said, where you been? What you up to? You used to be here all the time. Now we ain't seen you or Trisha. What's going on? Right? And I don't think Ken was sitting there for 3 minutes before he did this to his shirt. Like, I'm about to, child, my skin is melting off my damn bones. I cannot sit here anymore. And Marceau said, let's go inside. Let's go inside. I'm sorry, man. I thought we could sit out here, but yeah. Ken was like, I'm not baking out here for you in this scene. I'm about to go. Anyway, after they get inside, Ken starts talking about Trisha. Like they're not really together. You know what I'm saying? Even though they had that gym business together where they were supposed to be training people together. Now all of a sudden, Ken is saying shit like, that's Trisha's thing. I don't got nothing to do with that. I don't train people. Trisha trains people. And Marceau tilts his head to the side and he said, chill out, bruh. First off, you used to tell me that when she inhales, your ass exhales. That's how close y'all were in sharing the same air. There's no reason for you to sit in front of me right now and try to make it seem like you got a set of balls. And I hate to be the one to tell you I told you so. But when I told your ass so, that woman was still married and you are moving in and being a married man, you on married man territory, you told me, what's the big deal? And everybody dates when they break up and da-da-da-da-da. Now all of a sudden you trying to act like you and Trisha, y'all separate. She got her house, you got your house. Marcel said, I ain't buying that for a half a second. Okay, don't do that to me. I'm gonna make you remember your words, bruh. Correct, Marceau. You tell him, okay? He said that shit was just 2 months ago, too. It wasn't like it was 3 years ago. That was just a little bit ago. So if you want to start this story from scratch, cool. But don't come in here acting like you separate from Trisha and y'all have always lived separate, because that's not what it was. Ever. Okay? Whew. Anyway, Ken is sitting there looking like a cheap suit. And I do mean like, because he can't say shit. You know what I'm saying? He knows every word that's coming out of Marceau's mouth is fact. Marceau is working up there at that bar and doing his little side table psychology sessions, okay? Passing people drinks. This is his unk era. This is what he lives for. His son is over there at the school. He probably can't talk to his daughters the same. So he comes in to talk to young bucks like you. And really, I ain't gonna lie, Marceau has been on this since the beginning, but now he's in his full bloom. You know what I'm saying? And he's letting the people know, don't come in here with that bullshit, because when I tried to tell you, you act like you didn't want to hear it, period. But he said, listen, you know Trisha's broken. You told me her ass was broken. You were proud of it. You thought you was fixing the girl. But I'm going to tell you like I told Destiny, because we just came back from Detroit. Everybody using Destiny as their conversation. I'm going to tell you like I told Destiny, because we just came back from Detroit, and her mother is an addict, right? And he said she's had a lifetime of horrible experiences, having her kids plucked from her, all kinds of things. And Destiny thinks that if she goes into rehab, that's supposed to make her unbroken. There is a memory of experiences that this woman had that is always going to keep her broken. And you're going to have to love her as a broken woman. And that's on that. The same applies to Trish. You met her broken. You were cool with her being broken. And even if you think she went to the fucking shop or wherever, over there to the Dr. Francis's office to get fixed, it doesn't mean she still won't be broken. That's number one. Number two, you ain't even built like that. I'm looking at you. You are a man who puts his focus into things to get results. Otherwise, you wouldn't be 300 fucking pounds of muscle sitting in my chair right now. So don't pretend like you don't have what it takes to sit there and love that woman through her pain. You do. You're all about it. If you ask me, that's what you look for in a woman. Somebody who's a little broken winged bird. That's what you like. Okay, sir. Anyway, he tells him it's not cool for you to dip out on her now, because that's what it sounds like you're trying to do. That's not cool. In confessional, Ken said, I think Marceau sees us as a married couple, but I'm not married. Fuck Trisha and them kids. F Trisha and them kids. I'm out. I don't care. I'm not married to that woman. Which ends up, I howled. That shit was funny. Anyway, Marceau, if what he told him before wasn't enough, Marceau said, you playing games, Ken. This is what you're doing. You're playing games with that woman by moving out of her house, getting yourself an apartment. You want her to chase you is what you want. And that ain't right, Ken. You're playing games with her. You need to get your shit together. You're too grown for this, okay? Marceau is coming up off his perch to tell this to Ken. And Ken is feeling it, okay? Pat, 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 slapping his ass left and right. Next thing I know, Ken said, because he doesn't like how Marceau is treating him, okay? He don't like the way Marceau is talking to him. Ken says to Marceau, interesting, because Tisha, your wife, told Trisha that I be in women's DMs. And Marceau said, and what context was this conversation delivered? Because listen, good for you, Marceau. That's your wife. You put a whole lot of time into her. Was it at the beginning of this season? When did Marceau have that little meeting with the relationship people? Was it this season? Was it season 1? I think so. Either way, Marceau said, I've been pouring into Tisha, baby. Okay? I've been getting her right. So what was the context? The context by which she brought this conversation to Trisha, because I ain't going to believe your ass quite yet. Right? Ken said, but she told her. Marceau said, this is a little embarrassing to me. It is, because Tisha, of all people, we don't do that. Not us, not the Scotts. We don't give that type of unsolicited advice because we're used to people doing it to us all the time. So I want to find out the context of this conversation before I give you anything more. I'm not even going to apologize to you for her. I don't give a, because I'm going to go home first. Okay. Me and her, we've been doing the work. Me and Tisha been doing the work. And before I give you anything, I'm going to go back and ask her, because you could have led with that shit. You waited good and ready. This feels like some retaliatory BS to me. And that's how it is. Okay. Anyway, it was a good episode. I am going to, you said Marceau was being sarcastic again. Marceau said he's not going to bust his wife out until he gets the context. Everybody who's married or in any type of partnership worth its salt would say that to someone who comes to them with information. You ain't going to flip out. You're going to be like, well, hold your horses, bucko. Let me see what really went down. And then, I'll catch up with you if I have to. If not, move on. What's up, Trinidad? I love Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You said you are bringing the curry stewed chicken. Ooh, make sure that y'all save me a bowl, because I'm about to wrap this up right now. But I'm heading right over to that picnic table to get my curry stewed chicken, child. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You said like Dr. Eugene. You listen, Dr. Eugene does. He's never supposed to take his inside business outside. That's right. Absolutely. I agree. Anybody worth their salt, don't do that to your partner, period. Okay. So this just shows growth. Okay. Anyway, I'm giving this commentary, not my commentary. I'm going to give the show a solid 10. I actually was really surprised by Trisha, even though Trisha is not my scene snatcher. Y'all tell me what y'all thought of the episode or my review. What do y'all give it in the comments? Trisha is not the scene snatcher, even though Trisha gave us a different Trisha. I've never seen this Trisha on the show before. This was the first time. Trisha never blinked. She didn't dip her head down. She literally was looking at Ken, and when he told her it's mutual interest, and she shook her head like, you motherfucker. You motherfucker. I saw you, Trisha. I saw that girl. Anyway, you said, thank you, you're full. You had fun. Mwah. Thank you so much for blessing the channel, Miss Ty. It is always a pleasure to have you. But I want to give you my scene snatcher too, you guys. My scene snatcher is Daddy Scott. Okay. When Daddy Scott teared up just a little bit, he didn't let them tears fall, but he beamed with pride when Marceau told him, you did 98%, baby. There's nothing I can complain about in my childhood. That was really touching. I could feel it through the screen. Okay. So yes, you said Martell is your scene snatcher. Okay. Put your scene snatcher in the chat, child. You said your reviews are a 10. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. You guys are so sweet. You gave my commentary a 10, a 10, a 10, a 10, 10 across the board. A 10 for me and a 10 for the episode. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyways, I appreciate every single one of y'all. Thank you, Miss Ty, for blessing the channel with your donation. I appreciate you. You said, girl, you be killing these reviews. Proud of Marceau for checking in with his wife first. Absolutely, absolutely. Also, thank you, Elizabeth, for becoming a part of the Supreme Team membership. I appreciate you for that. You are absolutely amazing. And thank you to all of y'all for being so kind to me. It helps me do what I do. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for your support. Hit the like button, share the video, all of those things, you guys. Okay, let me put my screen back up here. Thank you to my sister for helping out in the chat. And yeah, you guys are actually, y'all make it fun. I actually go back and read all of your comments, but thank y'all so much. Hit the like button, share the video, follow me on all platforms at DYANAROZAY. What else? What else? What else? That's it. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. And until the next one, bye-bye.